Yeah, it's just like tier another, but I know it's very. It's about nice. Making it go. Probably. All that. Forgot to.
Yeah, no, yes.
Yeah, so. Right here. The cord here.
Okay, good afternoon and welcome to the September 9th regular meeting of the Community Development Commission of Chicago. I am Grace Chan McKibben, Secretary of the CDC, serving as chair today. Today's meeting is being held at City Hall, room 1103, and is also being streamed by the Department of Planning and Development. The agenda for today's meeting was posted on September 4th, both on the CDC website and physically at City Hall. I will now call to order the September 9th meeting of the Community Development Commission with a call of the roll. Commissioners, when your name is called, please respond by saying present. Please note that this vote will be used to establish the roll call vote for subsequent items. You know, the chair and vice chair are absent. Commissioner vote present. Commissioner Buford. Commissioner Curtis. Commissioner Davis. Present. Commissioner Gomez. Present. Commissioner Griggs. Commissioner Johnson.
Present.
Commissioner Millsap.
Present.
And Commissioner Zayas.
Present.
So we have a quorum. Thank you, commissioners. At this time, we'll begin the verbal public comment period of the meeting. Members of the public were able to submit written comments to the commission via email. There were no written comments from the public received by the Department of Planning and Development prior to the established deadline of 24 hours prior to the scheduled start of the meeting. Are there any speakers that have signed up to, no speakers have signed up to give verbal public comment for today's meeting. And if there are no members of the public that wish to speak on items on today's agenda, we will move on to the next item on today's agenda. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak on any agenda items? Seeing none, at this time, we will begin with the invitations. Thank you. The public comment period of today's meeting is now over. We will move on to the next item on today's agenda. The next agenda item is, Commissioner Curtis is now present. We will move on to the approval of the minutes of the July 8th, 2025 meeting. The commissioners have had an opportunity to review the minutes, and if there are no corrections, I move the passage of this item by the same roll call vote previously used to establish quorum. Are there any changes or corrections? Hearing no corrections or objections, the motion is approved. Let the record reflect that, the motion is approved. So now we're going to move on to new business. The first item A, commissioners, it is the Hollywood Sheridan redevelopment project area. Ward 48. So Commissioners, for the first item of new business on today's agenda, the Department of Housing is requesting the Commission to grant authority to the Department of Housing to negotiate a redevelopment agreement with Bickerdike Redevelopment Corporation for the redevelopment of the property located at 5853 North Broadway Avenue in the Hollywood Sheridan redevelopment project area. And for the Commission to grant authority for the Department of Housing to negotiate a land sale agreement with Bickerdike Redevelopment Corporation for the disposition of the property located at 5853 North Broadway Avenue within the Hollywood Sheridan redevelopment project area. And for the Commission to recommend to the City Council the designation of Bickerdike Redevelopment Corporation as a developer. Joseph Lewis and Esther Sorrell will provide a brief description of this request on behalf of the Department of Housing.
Thank you, members of the commission, and good afternoon. For the record, my name is Joseph Lewis. I am Assistant Commissioner in the Multifamily Finance Division of the Department of Housing. The proposed transaction before you requests authority for the Department of Housing to negotiate a redevelopment agreement and land sale agreement with Bickerdike Redevelopment Corporation or a related entity for the redevelopment of the city-owned property located at 5853 North Broadway in the Hollywood Sheridan redevelopment project area, and recommend City Council the designation of Bickerdike as developer. The project site is located in the Edgewater community within the Hollywood Sheridan TIF district on Chicago's north side. The site is located in the 48th Ward, represented by Alderwoman Lonnie Mana Hoppenworth, who has provided a letter of support for the project. Next slide, please. The site sits at the heart of Edgewater, a vibrant transit-rich neighborhood with a population of over 55,000 residents, more than half of whom are renters. The project site is directly adjacent to the Thorndale Red Line station, near Broadway Armory Park, as well as schools, shops, restaurants, and with close access to the Chicago lakefront. The Broadway Land Use Framework, adopted by the Plan Commission earlier this year, highlights the eastern portion of this stretch of Broadway as a Tier 1 redevelopment opportunity, where underutilized, low activation sites like storage yards should be transformed into dense, mixed-use, transit-oriented housing. Recent demographic trends underscore the need for this project. Between 2011 and 2020, Edgewater saw an 11% decrease in households earning under $100,000 per year, and a 35% increase in median rent, alongside a decline in non-white residents and an increase in overcrowding. This project was conceived in direct response to those challenges by preserving affordability and preventing displacement. Next slide, please. The parcel is currently owned by the city and serves as the 48th Ward Streets and Sanitation Ward Yard. Today, it functions as an asphalt yard with office space and snow-related storage for the Department of Streets and Sanitation. The Department of Fleet and Facilities Management will relocate these operations before construction begins. This property was publicly noticed for disposition in November 2024. Next slide, please. The proposed development is an 11-story, 90-unit, 100% affordable residential building. The unit mix will include 10 3-bedrooms, 52 bedrooms, and 31 bedrooms. The developer and project sponsor is Bickerdike Redevelopment Corporation. The proposal was selected for a conditional award of city financial assistance in connection with the Department of Housing's 2023 funding. The tax increment financing assistance request is $22 million, which is approximately 30% of the project's total development cost of approximately $73 million. Construction is expected to commence in the second quarter of 2026 and conclude within approximately 2 years. Next slide, please. The design features a 3-story podium along Broadway, which is contextual with neighboring buildings, with the taller portion of the building set back. Brick facade design with varied materials and massing breaks responds directly to community feedback and the Broadway Land Use Framework, which calls for denser, pedestrian-friendly development on the eastern side of Broadway. In addition to 90 units of affordable rental housing, the project will also provide on-site management, office and maintenance facilities, community engagement spaces, a green roof deck, laundry rooms on every floor, a bicycle concierge, and ample storage. And parking will be limited and accessed via the alley to maximize housing and encourage transit use. The project is designed to meet enterprise green community standards and will be an all-electric building with heat pumps, electric hot water, and induction appliances. Features include low E glazing, LED lighting, and permeable paving. The next slide, please. The project is estimated to cost approximately $73 million. Financing sources include city TIF funds of not to exceed $22 million from the Hollywood Sheridan TIF district. Developer equity includes proceeds from low-income housing tax credits. Both 4% low-income housing tax credits and an allocation of 9% low-income housing tax credits are present under a twinning model, which will generate approximately $38.8 million in equity for the benefit of the transaction. The Department of Housing further proposes to provide approximately $5.9 million in Department of Housing multifamily funds. In addition, the donation of the property is expected to generate state of Illinois donation tax credits, the proceeds from which are expected to provide approximately $1.87 million towards the project's financing. Other financing support includes a grant from ComEd, miscellaneous tax credits, general partner equity, and construction to permanent bank financing. The city will also write down the land value from approximately $4.4 million to $1, dramatically lowering development costs. Approximately 76% of costs are hard costs, including contingency, and 23% of the budget represents soft costs and developer fees. Next slide, please. The project will provide 90 affordable rental homes with a strong focus on family-sized units and long-term affordability. In total, all 90 units will be affordable to households at or below 60% of the Chicago area median income. 5 units will be designated for referrals from supportive housing, and 23 units will be supported by CHA project-based vouchers, ensuring long-term affordability for extremely low-income residents. And just to clarify for the record, the slide represents 9 units at 30% of the area median income, but the correct number is 5. We regret this inconsistency, which resulted from a clerical error while reconciling the 2 financial models for the project. These homes will offer families of varying sizes and incomes affordable options in a well-connected neighborhood with strong access to schools, jobs, and transit. Next slide, please. Unit sizes will range from approximately 700 square feet for 1 bedrooms, 950 square feet for 2 bedrooms, and 1,200 square feet for 3 bedroom units. For the 23 units supported by Chicago Housing Authority project-based vouchers, tenants will pay 30% of their income toward rent, with the vouchers covering the balance up to the full contract rent. The remaining 67 affordable units will be leased at rents set in accordance with the City of Chicago and HUD affordability limits for the Chicago metropolitan area based on the applicable income tier. Next slide, please. Project sponsor is Bickerdike Redevelopment Corporation, a not-for-profit community development organization. Founded in 1967, Bickerdike Redevelopment Corporation emerged to combat housing decline on Chicago's northwest side, and has since become a local leader in preserving affordable housing and stabilizing communities. Bickerdike's mission is to redevelop the Westtown, Humboldt Park, Logan Square, Hermosa, and Avondale communities for the benefit and control of low and moderate income residents. In 2021, members voted to expand Bickerdike's service area to most of Chicago's north side, further supporting residents vulnerable to displacement. Over its history, Bickerdike has developed or rehabilitated approximately 370 buildings and supported over 150 families in becoming homeowners. Currently, Bickerdike owns and operates approximately 1,600 apartments in Chicago that house more than 3,500 residents. Landon Bone Baker Architects, or LBBA, is a Chicago-based architecture firm nationally recognized for leadership in affordable housing design. LBBA has designed several communities developed with city financial assistance, delivering recent projects such as the Emmett Street Apartments, sponsored by Bickerdike Redevelopment Corporation, which is 100 affordable units in Logan Square, as well as the Rosenweld Courts Apartments Rehabilitation Project, which rehabilitated 239 affordable units in Bronzeville. The general contractor is a joint venture that includes Leopardo Companies Incorporated. With offices in 8 states, Leopardo has delivered over 75 million square feet of projects valued at over $60.5 billion. The firm has significant experience in affordable and community-oriented housing, including the city-funded Independence Library and Apartments project and the Encuentro Square Phase 1 development. The general contractor team also includes ALL Construction Group, a Chicago-based certified minority business enterprise. ALL has delivered major projects for the city of Chicago, Chicago Public Schools, and other public agencies. ALL is the general contractor for Amani Village Senior Residences Phase 1, a recent city-supported 70-unit affordable senior housing development in Poland. Their track record also includes participation in the Encuentro Square Phase 1 project, as well as the Altgeld Library and Family Resource Center, a CHA-sponsored project, and the John Hancock College Prep High School project through the Public Building Commission and Chicago Public Schools. Applegate & Thorne Thompson is a Chicago-based law firm founded in 1998, nationally recognized for its expertise in affordable housing, community development, and tax credit financing. Bank of America is the lender proposed for the project's private debt financing. Next slide, please. The project's TIF assistance is structured in 3 to 4 cash installments during the development period, with one of those installments released at a certificate of completion milestone. Because TIF funds are reimbursement-based and no TIF funds are available at closing, these payments must be bridged with a loan during construction. The project must also meet standard City of Chicago construction compliance requirements, including prevailing wage, minority and women-owned business enterprise participation, and city residency hiring goals. Next slide, please. Key project outcomes include the creation of 90 affordable rental homes in the Edgewater community, 60 of which are family-sized and committed to long-term affordability for at least 30 years. The program includes 5 supportive housing units, 23 CHA voucher units, expanding housing opportunities for households with the greatest need. The site offers convenient access to schools, transit, jobs, and neighborhood amenities, and the development is designed as an all-electric sustainable building, advancing energy efficiency and providing residents with healthy modern homes. In addition to housing benefits, the project will return a tax-exempt property to the tax rolls, thereby generating new revenue for the city. And the project will support the creation of 70 construction jobs and 6 permanent jobs. Next slide, please. To recap, the proposed transaction requests authority for the Department of Housing to negotiate a redevelopment and land sale agreement with Bickerdike Redevelopment Corporation for the redevelopment of the property at 5853 North Broadway, and to recommend to the City Council their designation as developer. Representatives from Bickerdike have joined us today to address any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. The commission has received a letter of support from the alderman, and I also see Alderwoman Lana Hoppenworth here, and would you like to make a statement on the project?
Hello, Commissioners. Alderwoman Lenny Manow Hoppenworth, 48th Ward, Edgewater. This is a very exciting development for my community. It means a lot to us to know that Bickerdike has considered developing on the north side of Chicago. This is 100% affordable. This is in an area that has very low vacancies, but climbing rents. And steps away from the red line, steps away from business corridors. This is a place where families, mothers, students walk to school to swim. It's just right around the corner. And our high school, which is right down the block. This is affordable for teachers, like my oldest son, who's a teacher now, and I would love him to get out of the house soon. So we have developed this land so we can get it going. But also, you know, most importantly for people who live in my ward, it's for older adults with this income. It means a lot to them that they can stay in the community that they've loved for so long, and also accessibility. So we really appreciate the accessibility of this building. So I hope for your favorable consideration today. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman. Commissioners, do you have any questions for Joe regarding this request? Department of Housing. Commissioner Curtis.
Thank you. You mentioned that the property would be returned to the tax rolls. So there will be real estate taxes on this, paid on this property?
That's correct.
Okay, so the entity that will have ownership is a for-profit entity?
That's right.
Okay, and just out of curiosity, the property units are about 800,000 a unit. Will those properties be valued at 800,000 when they pay real estate taxes?
At present, the projection for year one real estate taxes is approximately $110,000.
Okay.
I would have to turn to the developer representatives to provide some additional context about the real estate tax assumptions and whether there's a special assessment that's contemplated.
Yes, please, state your name before you make a presentation.
Oh, I'm sorry, Joe Lewis from the city of Chicago's
No,
Department of Housing.
is there a developers representative?
I believe they're behind you.
Yeah, sorry. If you want to move up, sure, yes, thank you.
Maybe, I'm sorry.
Okay, okay, please just come here, yeah, so. Please, speak your name before you.
My name is
Joy.
Thank you. My name is Joy Abrugete. And I'm the CEO at Bickford Equity Development Corporation. I'm spelling Arguguete. Thank you for considering this project today. I have with me Omari Bektemba, who is our Senior Development Project Manager. And so regarding the real estate taxes, it will pay real estate taxes. We will pursue like we do to keep it affordable. Whatever enrollment in the tax program that we're eligible for. We've been, like many owners, enrolled in the tax relief that provides for a 35% relief on assessment. Or on the assessed value, and so that does provide some relief on real estate taxes. It is for those who are developers know exactly what I'm talking about, and those who are not should know that real estate taxes have been one of the fastest growing expenses in affordable housing. And unlike private owners who can increase their real estate taxes increase their rents to meet increased real estate taxes, for all intents and purposes, this is rent control, right? We keep our rents affordable on measured escalations, and so it's important that we have a way to control property taxes as well. But we are paying, believe me, we pay our fair share of real estate taxes.
So
And this project will as well.
with that in mind, is there any estimate on how long it will take to pay back the tip financing?
I don't think we don't have that number offhand, but what Joe said is accurate. I think our first year operations model about $110,000 for the whole building facility. So
At that rate, unless there's something special, will take an extremely long time to pay back the TIF funding at that point.
It'll definitely take a while. And but what we can tell you is that Bickerdike has been around since 1967, and our first rental development was in the early 80s. And everything that we developed, unless it was developed for sale, we have continued to operate as affordable housing.
To the city, am I wrong to suggest that if there is no plan or proposal to pay back the TIF, then basically we are just paying for today's problems with tomorrow's and kicking that down the road? Is that correct? Am I just continuing to kick today's problems to another year?
I can jump in, Commissioner. So Commissioner Boatright, so I think you're not wrong in your line of questioning. I think where we think about TIF and the investment of TIF, it shouldn't be strictly based off of a net positive return to the city in a traditional sense. When we think about affordable housing and the need for affordable housing, I think we recognize the benefit that comes from leveraging our TIF investment to these neighborhoods across all 77 community areas. We understand, based off the Paul's Institute of Housing, we've got a huge deficit in affordable housing. So this is an example of how we leverage TIF to address that deficit. It won't happen with one project, but this is one tool that can certainly help address it. And so, no, you're not wrong in your line of questioning, but I want to just remind full commission that it's not going to always be a net positive return on potential investment for affordable housing in particular.
Thank you, Commissioner.
And I think, yeah,
I need to speak to you again when you.
I'm sorry, I was just gonna answer. And yeah,
Just for the court.
Joy Advocate, CEO of Pickard Equity Development Corporation, and I think the community benefit is enormous. Both in terms of providing housing that is affordable, that people can count on over the long term. And those members of the community will be, active in the community. There'll be a community engagement staff person assigned to the site that will work with the residents. And I think we have a pretty good track record of collaborating with neighborhood organizations and so we're not just building a building, we look at it from, as building a neighborhood. And
I'm agree completely with the need for affordable housing. I think this looks like a great project, although I still take exception with $800,000 a unit. But nonetheless, I think it's a great project. I just question whether TIF financing is the correct type of financing or the appropriate financing for this project. Thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you, Commissioner Purvis. Any other questions?
Commissioner Genseth has a question.
Go
I'll
ahead.
start with Joe with the city. Can you tell me what the fund balance is for the Hollywood Sheridan TIF?
I don't have that data to report at the moment. I do know that when this was advanced through the TIF review process, the request of up to 22 million was determined as supportable by the TIF, by the cash flow that was projected for that TIF. What it leaves as to the remaining balance, unfortunately, I don't have that answer right here.
I'm reading the report where I quoted from the city. It's showing that TIF has a fund balance of $13,978,616 at the end of 2024.
That very well could be. It's important to note that that fund balance gets trued up periodically during the year in connection with the tax collection cycle. As information about collections is reported from the county to the city, balances increase typically in connection with each of those scheduled, tax payments.
So we're expecting like a $9 million true up over the year to be able to fully account for the cost of a $22 million investment in this project.
I guess if I could put my comment slightly differently, I think that moment in time that you're observing was truly a moment in time that perhaps the balance increased from that moment in time to the present based off of the, reported collections from the county as it relates to, the semi-annual tax payments that are required to the county.
All right, so as a commissioner, my line of question just goes to like, what is the fund balance? Is there enough dollars in this particular fund to support what is 30% of its overall project cost? And just straightforward, yes or no type response to that?
Yeah, there is enough funding available to support this request. There is.
Okay, and we're anticipating that it was like a 30, 60, 90 in terms of how the funds are going to the project over like construction completion.
Correct, yes. So as to the installment schedule, how the disbursements are scheduled, we are expecting that there will be approximately, as I mentioned, 4 total installments, one at 30% completion, one at 60% completion, one at 90% completion, and then a portion is withheld to certificate of completion issuance to ensure that the developer appropriately closes out any construction period monitoring obligations with the city, such as the MWBE participation goals.
So my concern was simply just, it's a fairly large part of the overall project budget at 30%. It's gonna use up a lot of what's available based on the last fund balance that I see again. And how does it affect other future projects when it comes to the field? If one bigger like the value is taking a lot of tons of that fit, what is on fire?
I'd like to redirect that to Omari or Joy from Bickerdike to speak to that question.
Okay,
You say your name, Steve.
of course, Omari Beckdumber from Bickerdike Redevelopment Corporation. We will be porting funds in from the adjacent TIF. I believe it's the Bryn Mawr TIF district. So I think that might true up the discrepancy that you're finding on the report here, but we've heard confirmation from Department of Housing staff that they've checked the available balance in both TIF districts projections for the upcoming years as it aligns with our project schedule. And so they have confirmed that the total requested budget or balance of 22 million will be in place at construction completion.
Yeah, if I could just chime in, Commissioner Boatright, yes, so when we bring the projects to CDC, we're 100% confident funding will be available and project for future improvement, the said project. Because affordable housing is a huge priority for the board, we want to prioritize the use of TIF to address some priorities. In this case, is yes, over 30% of the total development cost is TIF, but I want to remind us that other sources that are necessary for us to be able to close the gap. And so, yes, when we bring, again, projects forward, we're 100% confident that throughout the payment schedule, the TIF can support the said project, and it'll be balanced. And I'm not sure if my team has the actual balance through 2027 that they can project or the current balance.
We have the current balance, sorry, Jeff Cohen, Deputy Commissioner, Department of Planning and Development. We do have the existing balance, I think it is already allocated for the beginning of Hollywood Sheridan. There will also be a port from the Bryn Mawr Broadway TIF district of about 9.5 million to cover this as well. So regardless of what that TIF balance says, there is additional funds that are available in adjacent TIF districts that have already been approved.
I think from an underwriting standpoint, included that earmark tip was not really part of this, but it was helpful as a commission, just to know like.
Understood. Yeah, and Joe Lewis, for the record, just to be clear, for the record, the not to exceed 22 million TIF amount is from the Hollywood, Sheridan, and Bryn Mawr Broadway TIF districts, of which 9.5 million comes from the Bryn Mawr Broadway TIF district.
Okay, that helps me a lot. Yeah. Thank you.
Are
What
there-
about questions?
Are there any others? Commissioner Gomez and then.
Commissioner Gomez, so just, I love that we're, obviously, the affordable housing aspect is really important. I noticed that it's all affordable housing. What is the mindset or thought behind it? Sometimes we see where it's mixed, right? Market rate and affordable. Can you share at least some context behind that and the decision to make it all affordable?
Originally we were invited in, I'm sorry, but Joy, I forget they, CEO, I figured I'd bring on corporation thing. Originally when we were invited, or requested to come in and develop was, Alderman Hoppenworth's predecessor. And what he said is there's so much conversion around here to market rate and, we're losing our family housing and we're losing affordability in our neighborhood. And we'd like you to come in and to do a project that, has the density that speaks to transit oriented. It's right there with the Standale, station, the red line. And, that provides housing for families and is affordable. And so that's how we've designed the project. When Alderwoman Mana Hoppenworth was elected, she said, yep, that's spot on with what we want. I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but and so we've continued the development in that vein. And sometimes a mixed income development makes sense in, in a certain area or a certain kind of development. I think, we have seen on multiple occasions that 100% affordability sometimes, especially in an area where affordability is being lost, ends up to be a really valuable part of what the affordability that remains in a neighborhood.
Thank you.
Yes,
But follow up, but separate, so there's always minority women participation goals. Being an all electric building, And the sector is still, the clean energy sector is still new to smaller minority and women-owned businesses. What are you doing to ensure that minority and women-owned businesses get an opportunity to work on a project like this, where they're also able to upscale some of their own internal infrastructure to work on a building like this that will then allow them to work on future projects like that?
Let me start by saying we're,
Your name.
Joy Agende, Executive Development Corporation, thank you. And we're committed to trying to minimize the use of fossil fuels and non-renewable resources. So this is not the first electrification project we've done. We did two green retrofits with Elevate Energy and went all electric in those buildings, and are just wrapping up construction on a rehab project that we did a retrofit for all electric. And this will be the first new construction all electric project. We have a very strong track record of providing opportunities for both women and minority business enterprise, as well as Chicago residents. We comply with Section 3 and will provide the minimum required, but we hope to exceed those requirements of for both WBE and MBE hiring. And I know Omari wanted to get in on this, so I'm going to hand it over to him.
Yeah, Omari Bektemba. Just also wanted to add, we did, as part of our contractor outreach process, we did host an open house for subcontractors at the Broadway Armory. So we had a really good turnout there for local subcontractors who were, they might have some experience with DOH, but others had none. As an opportunity for them to meet the general contractors who were bidding on the project. And we're still going through those exercises with the subcontractors and trying to get to our guaranteed maximum price. With Leopardo Construction, they told us they had over 200 responses to the call for bids. And so I think our next steps will be to sort of vet some of the subcontractors. And yeah, as Joyce mentioned, we do try to exceed those MWBE targets, especially in meaningful ways. For, in the spirit of the rules, for small businesses that can need that little bit of extra exposure on a larger scale project in order to sort of take off and see their small businesses grow.
So I guess let me reframe a little bit. I think aside from meeting the goals, specifically, I'm asking for what new strategies or approach would you be taking to ensure the community, the construction, small business community, and WBEs are also learning, adding new tools to their tool belt in this space of clean energy, where again, it's still fairly new to the sector. And so I think this is a real good opportunity that this project can afford, not only affordability to residents for housing, but also afford new skill sets to our minority women-owned businesses that are going to continue building throughout Chicagoland. So I would hate to lose that opportunity. And so if there's an opportunity to help them, is I guess what I'm looking, is there any connectivity there?
Yeah. I'm Joy Advocate with Bickerdike. And so, I mean, every developer is going to tell you we'll meet our requirements, so on and so forth. But I think access to training programs, bringing people in at jobs that are scaled for, with the opportunity for them to learn, I think is really important. We'll take into consideration with the, definitely with subcontractor selection, and try to get people. I know Leopardo is committed to it, so are we. Access to assistance in how to participate in this kind of a job, which really is different than, a market rate job. You have a lot of compliance requirements. And so, we're committed to make that happen. I think we have a strong track record making that happen. And, though access to those training programs are really important. And, we have you know, I like to say, we have a good track record in doing so.
I just encourage that.
So, and not just on this job, but on other jobs too, in
Yeah.
jobs that we're not required to do it. We, you know, try to work, you know, we just, are in the award process on, a smaller commercial, build out that is a woman-owned, contractor. So, and she'll be a general contractor. So, and so sometimes you start them with a smaller project and then build them up to participate, so.
Encourage you to do more. Thank you.
Commissioner Johnson.
I just wanted to give DPD the opportunity to put a final point on projections that we requested before. And I don't,
Financial.
yeah,
Yes.
maybe Deputy Commissioner Cohen. Just quick questions. The outward facing statements that we look are projections, correct?
Correct.
And what goes into those projections? To get to that final number, is that, I'm assuming it's what tax increment is gonna be generated as well. But on the minus side, what also goes into it on the minus side?
Yes, Jeff Cohen, Deputy Commissioner, DPD. It is all projects that have been approved at the TIF request review process, as well as in some cases, some potential projects that are unallocated through that project, so it's that process. So there is a combination of both approved projects and some that are theoretical, waiting to be approved through that process as well.
So by the time that we're looking at it, projects that we're potentially discussing have already been included in the projections.
That may be the case, yeah.
Potentially depending on the timing.
It, I was just gonna say, it really depended on when you're looking at the actual TIF report, when the Office of Budget Management issues that report, and the veracity in which they are making edits to clean it up in terms of projects that are currently not moving forward or other projects that are in the hopper.
And so it's safe to say when we look at a fund balance, it's not like us looking at a checkbook.
Correct.
It's something different than that, correct?
Yes. These are projections based on the estimated real estate taxes coming in, collection losses, as well as all the projects that are part of that specific TIF district
That are-
at that specific point in time.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Any other questions? I have one. Can you go back to the slide with the number of units? So I'm always very encouraged whenever we have a lot of
That one.
the previous one, a lot of family size units as well as deep affordability. You said that there's a fraction in the first column, so do you have the number for how many 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom for the
I-
5?
I do,
at
yes.
30%?
So Joe Lewis, for the record, from Department of Housing, as mentioned, there is a correction as to the number of units set aside for the 30% AMI level. In particular, the total is 5. And we're looking at 4 1-bedroom units, 1 2-bedroom unit.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, no further questions from me. Anybody else has any other questions? No, thank you. If there are no further questions or comments regarding the matter before us, I will call this item to a vote. The resolution before us is the Department of Housing is requesting the commission to grant authority to the Department of Housing to negotiate a redevelopment agreement with Bickerdike Redevelopment Corporation for the redevelopment of the property located at 5853 North Broadway Avenue in the Hollywood Sheridan redevelopment project area. And for the commission to grant authority for the Department of Housing to negotiate a land sale agreement with Bickerdike Redevelopment Corporation for the disposition of the property located at 5853 North Broadway Avenue within the Hollywood Sheridan redevelopment project area. And for the commission to recommend to the city council the designation of Bickerdike Redevelopment Corporation as developer. If there are no objections, I move passage of this item by the same roll call vote previously used to establish quorum. Are there any objections? Let the record show the Commissioner Curtis is a no vote. So the motion is approved. Right, thank you for voting. Moving on to the next item. Item B is North Pullman and Lake Calumet Area Industrial Development Project Area, Ward 9. Commissioners, for the next item of new business on today's agenda, we have been planning and development is requesting the commission to grant to the Department of Planning and Development to negotiate a redevelopment agreement with Pullman Hotel Group LLC for the redevelopment of the property located at 1430 South Dobie Avenue East in the North Pullman and Lake Calumet industrial redevelopment project areas. And for the commission to grant authority for the Department of Planning and Development to negotiate a land sale agreement with Pullman Hotel Group LLC for the disposition of the property located at 11030 South Dobie Avenue East within the North Pullman and Lake Calumet area industrial redevelopment project areas. And for the commission to recommend to the city council the destination of Pullman Hotel Group LLC as developer. William Grams will provide a brief description of this request on behalf of the Department of Planning and Development.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Secretary McKibben and members of the commission. For the record, my name is William Grams with the Department of Planning and Development. With me today, I have Andre Garner from the development team. The resolution before you requests a recommendation to the City Council to designate Pullman Hotel Group LLC and its affiliates as the developer for the Pullman Hotel project. It also requests authority for the Department of Planning and Development to negotiate a redevelopment agreement with the developer. The Pullman Hotel project is located at 1030 South Doty Avenue East, which is in the 9th Ward, the Pullman community area, and the North Pullman and Lake Calumet area industrial TIF district, and the Port South planning region. The alderman is Anthony Beal, who is supportive of the project. The North Pullman TIF district was established in 2009 with the goal of facilitating redevelopment of vacant or underutilized industrial properties and the transition of such properties to land uses which are more in keeping with the character of the existing North Pullman community. The Lake Calumet Area Industrial TIF was created in 2000 with the goal of promoting new industrial and business development that is compatible with and complementary to the existing ecological character of the area. Here's an overhead view of the neighborhood. The project site is located to the northwest of the intersection of East 111th Street and South Doty Avenue. Directly to the south are several restaurants, including Culver's, Potbelly, Wingstop, and Lexington Betty Smokehouse. To the north is the Pullman Crossings Industrial Park. To the west is the Pullman National Historical Park. And to the east is Bishop Ford Freeway and the Harborside International Golf Center. The next two slides show two views of the project site, which is currently vacant land. Next. The Pullman Hotel Group is planning to develop the first nationally branded hotel in Chicago's historic Pullman community, providing high-quality lodging for this burgeoning tourism area of the city. This 100-key Hampton by Hilton will include a business center, an exercise room, an indoor pool, and a market store or gift shop. In addition, the Pullman Hotel project will bring much-needed jobs and community pride to area residents while furthering the economic development momentum growing in the area. The total project cost is $30.9 million. The request before you today is to approve a TIF loan of $2,863,821, which will complete the capital step. The project is hoping to break ground before the end of the year and will take roughly 15 months to complete. Here is a rendering of the hotel. The project is receiving funding from a wide variety of sources, including equity, traditional finance, lender financing, CPACE, new markets tax credits, a We Rise grant, and a Chicago Development Grant Medium. The proposed TIF loan of $2,863,821, or 9.3% of total project costs, would complete the capital stack and allow the project to move forward to a groundbreak. The Pullman Hotel Group's team includes Beehive as architect, Decord as the owner's rep, a joint venture between Ujama and Leopardo as a general contractor, Neil and Leroy as counsel, and the lender is expected to be the Chicago Community Loan Fund. The Pullman Hotel Group is a limited liability company created by Andre Gardner to carry out this project. Mr. Gardner is a lifelong resident of the South Side of Chicago and has worked in marketing, economic development, and insurance. He has been a real estate investor for over 25 years. His partners for the project include Robert Habib of Maverick Hotels and Restaurants and Mark Meyer of E&M Strategic Development. Mr. Habib has served as CEO of First Hospitality Group and chairman of the Illinois Hotel and Lodging Association. Mr. Meyer is a hotel owner and operator with a deep knowledge in modeling financial operations for hospitality. The loan funds will be provided at 30, 60, and 90% completion milestones, with the final 10% dispersed at the certificate of completion. No interest will accrue during the construction period. The loan will have a 10-year maturity with a 30-year amortization period. The interest rate will be the lower of the SOFR swap rate or the 10-year Treasury note. The project must remain in operation as a hotel throughout the compliance period, and the typical construction compliance requirements for prevailing wage, MWBE, and city residency apply. Next. DPD has thoroughly reviewed the proposed project, the qualifications of the development team, and the need for public assistance. DPD supports the project as it will provide a quality lodging option for tourists and business travelers and will complement the ongoing development in the area. In addition, the project will create an estimated 20 to 25 new permanent jobs. DPD requests that the Community Development Commission grant authority for DPD to negotiate a redevelopment agreement with Pullman Hotel Group LLC for the redevelopment of the property located at 11030 South Doty Avenue in the North Pullman and Lake Calumet area industrial redevelopment project areas, and to recommend to the City Council the designation of Pullman Hotel Group LLC as developer. Thank you for your time, and I, as well as Mr. Gardner, can take any questions the commission.
Thank you. The commission has received a letter of support from the alderman, and the alderman is also present to give a statement.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is a project that
I can't hear him.
Oh, I'm sorry, can you, sorry, third for the reporter.
Anthony Leo,
Yes.
greatest alderman
Oh, no,
in the
no.
city of Chicago.
No, I think this needs to be.
This is a great project for not only my ward, but the city of Chicago. I've known Mr. Gardner and his wife for almost 30 years. We actually used to go to the same barber and we used to talk about politics and development and things like that. So a lot of deals are cut in the barbershop. And so it's really breathtaking to see him and his wife take on this milestone in our community to complement all the great things we've already been doing in the 9th Ward. You all know we had a study that just came out that showed that we have leveraged over $1.5 billion of investment in the Pullman community since we started our development years ago with the Walmart, the Planet Fitness, the Ross, things like that. Amazon, the Pullman Community Center. One thing you did mention is, we do have a Chick-fil-A in the area now as well. And we have so many more great things happening that will complement the national park that President Obama named into law a few years ago. And so all these development, all these tools that we've been able to leverage, we want to keep the dollar circulating in our community. There was also a study done years ago that when you spend $1 in our community, that dollar was gone 3 to 4 hours after you spend it. Well, another study has came out showing now that dollars are now circulating in our community for weeks. And that is community investment. That's how we revitalize areas. And so with the national park, the shopping, restaurants, the jobs, the housing that we're doing, the Pullman Community Center where people are coming from outside the community to take advantage of sports. The one thing we were missing was a place for people to lay their heads when they come into our community for these tournaments. And so this is going to afford us the opportunity to have people to come in from out of state and take advantage of all the great amenities that we have in the Ninth Ward. And so I just ask for your favorable support to make this thing and this dream come to fruition for our family. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Commissioners. Do you have any questions for Grams regarding this request by the Department of Planning and Development? No questions?
I just have one question.
Yes.
And it's really not, thank you, Commissioner Davis. It's really not a question as much as it is a comment / question. So I'm very familiar with that area and grew up in that area, and it's fantastic what is happening there. My question is, have you gotten any pushback in terms of continued development because of the administration and what's going on federally? Do you foresee that there will continue to be companies continuing to come in the area? Are you seeing that that hasn't stopped? Is that continuing to go as well as it had been? I hope that is the case.
Absolutely. I can tell you, I really classified this movement as a renaissance in the Ninth Ward, and the renaissance is continuing. We have so much more interest that's still on the books that's coming, and we're going to be before you all in probably the next couple of months with 2 or 3 other projects that we're looking to move forward. So no, so the only adverse effect that I've seen with all the development that we have is Chick-fil-A is not open on Sunday.
Okay, great. Great. I'm glad to hear that. Really, very, really very glad to hear that.
Any other? Commissioner Gold.
Not a question for my team, more of a compliment for the development team. Looking at your financial structure, your capital stack, I mean, this is an example of design to finance. So just wanted to just call out you all's thoughtful kind of financing. We're seeing funding sources that we don't always see as part of equity in this deal. So congratulations on just the thoughtfulness putting this deal together. I know you guys have been at this for quite some time now. So just congratulations. And just want to acknowledge your steadfast commitment to getting to this point.
Thank you.
Seeing no other questions or comments, I'm calling this item to a vote. The resolution before us is the Department of Planning and Development is requesting the commission to grant authority to the Department of Planning and Development to negotiate a redevelopment agreement with Pullman Hotel Group LLC for the development of the property located at 11030 South Doty Avenue East in the North Pullman and Lake Calumet area industrial redevelopment project areas. And for the commission to grant authority to the Department of Planning and Development to negotiate a land sale agreement with Pullman Hotel Group LLC for the disposition of the property located at 11030 South Doty Avenue East within the North Pullman and Lake Calumet area industrial redevelopment project areas. And for the commission to recommend to the city council the designation of Pullman Hotel Group LLC as developer. If there are no objections, I move passage of this item by the same roll call vote previously used to establish a quorum. Are there any objections?
One abstention.
One abstention.
And I abstain too, but I want it on the record that my abstention is because Neil and Leroy is a part of the organization that I'm the CEO of, but it's not because I'm not in full support of this project.
Thank you. So Commissioner Davis and Commissioner Johnson are abstaining. The motion is approved. Congratulations. So, Commissioners, that was our last item on today's agenda. There are no further questions or comments. I will adjourn the September 9th meeting at the Community Development Commission by the same roll call vote previously used to establish. Hearing none, we're adjourned. Thank you.